Hi, and welcome back. Now that we have our data read in, we're going to begin to transform it. We will start by combining the cases and the deaths per date into one variable we will call global. So what we will do is we will join the cases with the deaths, and then we will rename our country region just to get rid of this slash mark, and the same with province state. We'll also notice that our date was not a date object, so we will make it a date object. Oops, and I forgot to library lubricate. Let's do that. And then we will try again. Now this should work. And now if we look at global, our new variable called global, we have date is now a date object. And we have the number of cases and the number of deaths, and we have renamed these two variables. Now we want to look at a summary of the data to see if there are any problems. So if we look at summary, we see that the minimum date is January 22nd of 2020, and the maximum date is March the 1st. At least that's when I recorded this. So but your maximum date will be different. And the number of cases, I see a minimum and a maximum, and the number of deaths. I think I have a lot of rows that have no cases at all. So I think I would like to get rid of those. So I think what I will do is I will filter out and keep only where the cases are positive. Okay, so that should, now if I do a summary of my variable, right paren, I see that the smallest number of cases is 1. Now, I may also be concerned about whether this maximum is a valid maximum or if it were a typo. And so what I could do is I could take a look, and this is the kind of analysis you want to do when you're first going through your data, is I want to see where the cases are, let's say, bigger than, what's that number, 28 million? And we can see that those are all the number of cases for the United States from February the 19th of 2021 and onward. And I believe those look about right. So I've done a first check to be sure that data is valid. Now what I want to do is I want to do the same sort of thing with my U.S. cases. So first I'm going to look to see what is in U.S. cases. What does that data set look like? Well, I have these weird codes, UID, ISO2, ISO3, code 3, FIPS, admin 2, province, state, country, region, lat long. So there's some things in there that I don't need. So what I'm going to start with is I know I want to pivot all of these dates. And I think I'm going to keep admin 2 through the number of cases once I get that done. So if I just started with pivoting the cases, and this is how I generally build it up. I start one thing at a time and see what I've got. So when I do that piece, I can see that what I now have is lat long date cases. I have this combined key. And then I think I'm going to just select from admin 2 through cases. I'll select from here on over, and then I'll leave out the lat long. And I notice that date is a character vector instead of a date object. So I'm going to fix those things and save that all in US cases, and then see now what US cases looks like. So it looks like this is my county name. If I look this up and do a little research on it, this will be the name of the county. Here's the state. Country region is the U.S. Combined key puts together the county and the state. And then I have the date and the number of cases. Okay, so I will play with the U.S. deaths in the same manner and do the same sort of thing to it. You can't always assume that they're going to be in the same format. You want to look at it first and be sure. But now if I look at U.S. deaths, I can see it looks pretty much the same as I had here. But that's interesting. You see here I have population, and I didn't have that in the cases. So let's just join those two together, and we should have a data set that has everything in it. So we will save this as US, and now let's see what we have in US. So now I have the cases, the population, and the deaths by date. Now, we notice we don't have population data for the world data. And if we're going to do comparative analysis between the countries, we will want to add the population data to our global data set. So let's add a population data and a variable called combined key that combines these two things, the province, state, and the country region together, so that I'll have a similar sort of data set. So first, let me combine. I'm going to do a combined key, so I'm going to use unite, which will combine together province, state, country, region. It'll combine it with a comma and a space and put it in combined key in the global data set. So now if I look at my global data set, it should have the same variables other than population. So now I need to add population. And so I find that that same Johns Hopkins website has a CSV, and I'm going to put that in a URL. And I found, by looking that up, I found that, in fact, I could find that, let's see, if I read that in, what's in UID? Well, here's what's going to be in UID. You see, it's going to have the population for these different countries. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to join that together with my global data set. And in this case, I'm going to tell it exactly what to join it by. I'm going to join it by province, state, and country region. And then I'm going to select everything except for those columns, and then I will select these columns from it. And when I do that and look at global, now I see that for each country, I have added the population to that data set. Now, I suggest you stop and try this yourself with these same data sets. Go back, rewind the video if you need to, and get comfortable with these verbs and with doing this sort of analysis.